it's Ann Taylor Pittman with Cooking Light. We are in a different location today. We are in the beautiful test kitchens with a beautiful view of the fall foliage here in Birmingham, Alabama. Our studio is being renovated, so we're in a different spot this week. But thank you so much for tuning in. Today starts our Thanksgiving countdown. Now, I know we're a ways off from Thanksgiving, but I also know, because we have done research, we have done surveys, that people start planning their Thanksgiving meal about a month, if not more, ahead. So we're getting ahead of that. We're starting to show you some of the wonderful side dishes you can serve at your Thanksgiving. So if you have our November issue, you'll see that our Thanksgiving cookbook this year is dedicated to showing you two versions, so to speak, of traditional Thanksgiving sides. So today is Sweet Potato Day. I'm going to show you two ways to prepare sweet potatoes for your Thanksgiving feast. So I'm starting with one that is the more next level version of sweet potatoes, and it's stuffed sweet potatoes with toasted meringue. So I have some sweet potatoes that I baked off. I'm making half the recipe right now for the purposes of this demo, but just know the recipe serves 12 because it's for Thanksgiving, so it serves a large crowd. So I baked off some sweet potatoes. I scooped out the pulp and left a little bit inside the skins just to leave a shell that can hold its shape. And then I have that pulp here in a bowl. I've gone ahead and sort of mashed it with a fork. I like to leave a little bit of texture in there so people know these are real sweet potatoes. They're not from, a can. Those are still real sweet potatoes, but they're different from freshly baked sweet potatoes. So one thing that's going to take the flavor of this dish up to a new level is to make fresh ginger juice. It's easy. It's way easier than you might think. So I have a piece of ginger here on a piece of cheesecloth. If you don't have cheesecloth, you can try to use a paper towel. You might get a little bit of paper towel flavor, but it won't be too bad. Okay, so I have about a 1-inch piece knob of ginger. I'm not going to peel it. I don't need to peel it. I'm just going to grate it on a box paper onto this parchment. Now this is great. Like I said, it adds just a punch of flavor that's different from, bottled ground ginger, dried ginger, which you could certainly use in a pinch if you don't have any fresh ginger. But this is great. It's also great for cocktails, honestly. So if you're a fan of Moscow Mules and you buy a ginger beer that doesn't have quite enough punch like you want, just grate some fresh ginger, squeeze out some of the juice, and you can punch up your Moscow Mule to be just as spicy and ginger rich as you'd like it to be. Okay, so I have that grated there. Onto this cheesecloth. Again, if you don't have cheesecloth, you can try doing it in a paper towel. The thing about the paper towel is a lot of times it will break. Okay, so I'm just squeezing. And look, ginger juice. Super pungent, powerful, and fresh. Fresh is the key. I want everything fresh here in these stuffed sweet potatoes. So I'm just going to stir that into the mashed sweet potato pulp along with some butter that's softened and a little bit of milk. I'm just stirring with a fork here because that's what I mash the sweet potatoes with. You can use a potato masher if you'd like. Again, I've left chunks. If you want this completely smooth, you can put it in a food processor and blend it up so that it has a smoother texture. Okay. And then the last thing here is some salt, nutmeg, and black pepper. Okay,
and we have a question.
Oh, great.
Mary wants to know if you can eat sweet potato skins.
That is a great question, Mary. So I love sweet potato skins. I eat sweet potato skins all the time. I just make sure that I scrub them. I usually try to buy organic so I can feel good about eating the skins. So I do scrub them. I definitely eat them. I also eat the skins on a baked russet potato. I like the flavor. I like the added fiber. So I say yes, go for it. Okay, so I'm just going to stuff this here evenly into my sweet potato shells. And then the fun part is coming. So this is the type of sweet potato dish. What I love about this, so this is the type of sweet potato dish that will really impress your friends and family who come to your Thanksgiving feast because the presentation is just so beautiful. You'll see in just a second. Another thing I love about these is that everybody gets their individual portion to pick up. So, whenever you can serve something in an individual vessel, people really dig it. So I'm just spooning this in here. Now you can make this ahead, 3 days, up to 3 days ahead at this point, okay? So just make your stuffing, put it in your sweet potatoes, and then you can cover them and hold them. Because I know if you're hosting Thanksgiving, you have a lot going on, you're gonna be looking for some make ahead ideas. So this is something you can get a head start on. Make it ahead. Definitely take it out of the fridge, get the chill off. You would probably actually want to reheat it before the feast. And then you make your topping. So the topping is a whipped meringue. So that starts with egg whites. So I have some egg whites here. I'm adding a little bit of salt and cream of tartar. That cream of tartar just helps to stabilize the egg whites. And then let me beat it up. I'm just beating till kind of foamy. And I'm going to start adding powdered sugar, a little bit at a time. Here it is good to exercise patience. Add the sugar a little at a time for the fluffiest meringue. Getting there, we're getting there. When you get to stiff peaks and the egg whites are nice and glossy, it's time to top the sweet potatoes. Almost there, very close. Okay, so the egg whites are shiny, that's a good sign. They do seem to be holding a stiff peak. Not quite. Gonna go just a little bit longer. You wanna be careful not to overbeat the egg whites. If you overbeat them, they get really kind of chalky looking, and they look broken or curdled or separated. Okay, let's see. That's stiff peaks, that's good. Okay, so let me set this over here off to the side. And now this is the fun part, or one of the fun parts, the smaller spoon. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some meringue, spoon it onto each sweet potato. Right now I'm just gonna divvy up and then I'm going to swoosh. Swoosh is the fun part. So instead of like a marshmallow topped sweet potato casserole, this is a meringue topped stuffed sweet potato. It uses less sugar than the marshmallow topped sweet potato casserole. It's fresher for sure. I'm just kind of sweeping. You guys might do a better job of sweeping. I'm just kind of swooping quickly to keep things moving. Okay, this is going to go into a 400-degree oven for 6 to 7 minutes. I'm going to set it for 6 minutes. We're going to do this live. We're going to hope it behaves well and performs well on camera. Okay, so let me get this in the oven. Again, 400 degrees for just 6 to 7 minutes. Okay, let me set a timer for 6 minutes. Okay. And now I can move on to the next sweet potato recipe. Okay, so the next one is a more traditional sweet potato casserole. So I have 3 pounds of sweet potatoes that I cooked. I baked them off until they were tender. I mashed them in the bowl. And now I have the fun stuff to add. I have a 2-quart casserole dish. That's an 11 by 7-inch dish, or you can use an oval that's about that same size, but you want 2-quart capacity. Okay, so I have my 3 pounds of sweet potatoes I've already sort of mashed up here. I'm adding a little bit of melted butter, some vanilla extract. That's just going to enhance the sweet flavor of the sweet potatoes. some salt and pepper. Let me go ahead and stir that in. So this is a lower sugar sweet potato casserole. You know, a lot of times at Thanksgiving, people serve sweet potato casseroles that honestly feel more like dessert than a side dish. I love this version because sweet potatoes are already sweet. That's why they're called sweet potatoes. So you don't have to add a ton of sugar to make them taste great and to make them taste sweet. The filling here has no added sugar. So I just added salt, pepper, vanilla. What else did I add? A little butter. This is evaporated milk. I love, love, love evaporated milk. Not sweetened condensed milk. It's different, okay? Sweetened condensed milk is that thick, super sweet stuff you use to make key lime pie. This is evaporated milk, and it's sort of like a really super concentrated milk. It's canned. You'll find it in the grocery store right by the sweetened condensed milk. But it just tastes, when you put it into a casserole like this, it tastes as if you added cream, but you didn't add cream. You added evaporated milk. It just has a really rich, wonderful flavor. So that is almost it for the filling. The last thing, 2 egg yolks. So I'm using 2 egg whites later. The yolks are going to go into the filling to enrich it. I'm going to sort of help it set up. So I'm just sort of breaking the yolks up in there and then stirring it around. And then we have a really fun streusel topping that's going to go over the top.
And we have a question.
Great.
If you don't have evaporated milk or for some reason you can't find it, is there something else you could sub in?
Absolutely. You could use regular milk. So use an equal amount of whatever milk you have on hand. You know, I would say, ideally I would say, you know, a 2% or a whole milk will give you a similar sort of richness. That was a great question. Okay, let me spoon this here into the casserole dish. Now this you could also make a couple of days ahead up to this point and sort of stow it away and maybe measure out your streusel topping ingredients and have those sort of ready to go. So a lot of times at Thanksgiving I'll make kits. So if I have a dish like this, I'll have all my ingredients for that dish sort of separated and off to the side, maybe on a sheet pan, so that I have my kit for my sweet potato casserole. It just makes everything go a little more smoothly on the big day. Okay, so for the streusel, I have some really lovely ingredients here. I have some egg whites. Like I said, we use 2 egg yolks in the filling. Now I'm going to go with some egg whites for the streusel topping. I'm just going to whisk those just to kind of break them up a little bit. Now the egg whites for the streusel, what they're going to do is they're going to make that streusel nice and crisp and really kind of crunchy when the casserole comes out of the oven. Just want to beat these until they're foamy again, just to kind of break them up. Okay. To that, I'm going to stir in 3/4 cup of old-fashioned oats. If all you have is quick oats on hand, those will work just fine. This is the only added sugar we're using in this dish. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar for the topping. Again, no added sugar in the filling because sweet potatoes are nice and sweet already. They don't need all that sugar. 3/4 cup of walnuts that I've chopped kind of coarsely because I like them to have a little more texture, a little more presence in the topping. Now you don't have to pre-toast them because they're going on top of the casserole, so they're sort of sitting on top and toasting the whole time the casserole's in the oven anyway. And then the last thing, which is such a lovely touch, is a little bit of ground cardamom. It just adds so much fragrance. It makes this sweet potato casserole stand out. If you don't have cardamom on hand, that's okay. Use cinnamon, use ginger, whatever kind of sweet spice you have on hand that you love. Okay, so that's the streusel. My timer's going to go off in just a minute for the sweet potatoes, the individual guys I have in the oven. So this is a pretty wet streusel from that the egg whites. I'm just going to spoon it on, spread it out a little. This is going to bake at 350 degrees, I believe. Yes, for 40 to 50 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like in just a minute. Oh, this timing is so perfect. My timer is about to go off. Hopefully the meringue is really nice and toasted on the individual stuffed potatoes I put in the oven. All right, here's my timer. Okay, let's see how they look. Ah, they're gorgeous, but I want them to toast just a little teeny bit more, just a teeny bit more, like 30 seconds more. So the recipe says 6 to 7 minutes. I set the timer for 6. I'm gonna go about 6.5 minutes. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. And kind of clear a spot here, pull over some plates so I can plate some of this stuff up. Okay, this goes in 350 for 40 to 50 minutes. Let me pull these out. Oh, they're so pretty, they're so cute. Look at those. Love them, love them. You know what, both of these recipes are so great. Maybe you want to serve both at Thanksgiving. I'm kind of convinced that maybe I do. So this is what the sweet potato casserole looks like after it's baked. It's still a little warm, but I can hold it up. So the streusel topping gets really nice and crisp. The filling is really lovely and enriched with the evaporated milk. Those egg yolks give it some richness. So I'm just gonna, let me spoon one of these. Let me put one of these guys here so you can see him and on his plate where he's starring. And then let me scoop some of this out. So for this, you wanna go with sort of uniformly sized sweet potatoes so that no one's fighting over who gets the bigger one at the table, but also so that they cook evenly at about the same rate. Look at that. Lovely sweet potato casserole, nice, made with fresh sweet potatoes, and we mashed up a lot less sugar, but a lot more flavor. That streusel is so wonderful. As I was digging into it, I could tell like it's super crunchy, and I kind of can't wait to take a bite. So that's week 1 of Thanksgiving lead up. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If you are watching on Facebook, please like and share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you'll get notifications when we go live. And please tune in next week because we're continuing our Thanksgiving countdown. Thanks so much. See you then.